I truly wish that I could be live with you, but I had a conflict, so this video is the alternative. I'm ShellyPriebe, and I had the good fortune to learn from Damien and a fascinating group of colleagues in his MCC cohort number 2 that concluded in June of this year. For frame of reference, I submitted my MCC application 1 month later in July, and then heard back from MCC 4 months later to the day in November that I'd passed that step and was invited to sit for the exam. I scheduled it immediately and took the exam 4 days later. Damien asked what tips I might share. First, I provided the timeline of this process for me to emphasize that it is a long and rigorous process. Congratulations to you for your enrollment in Damien's MCC course, because that is a valuable component that does truly prepare you for what is to come. Beyond level setting expectations on the timeline, and also encouraging self-grace if it's longer for you for any reason, here are my top 3 tips. Number 1, finding the right balance between MCC structure and your personal style. Absolutely embrace the structure of the minimum skills requirements for MCC level coaching and the behaviors identified for each of the core competency areas. For me, this learning most impacted my behaviors with Competency 3, establishing and maintaining agreements, and Competency 8, facilitating client growth. The caveat, for me anyway, was that while I needed to integrate more discipline into my coaching practice in those competencies, for most of the other competencies, mindset, trust and safety, presence, active listening, operating in my natural and intuitive state was how I was able to show up at MCC level. The challenge for me was to balance the integration of MCC process awareness while retaining my intuitive personal style. And that brings me to tip number 2, mentor coaching. Damien's course provided the learning. For me, the mentor coaching part of the program was essential in understanding that tricky balance. My mentor coach gave me a lot of tough feedback, but also a lot of encouragement. Specifically, her constructive feedback could be categorized in 2 ways. Number 1, more attention to the required behaviors in the competencies I mentioned. But interestingly, number 2 was observation of missed opportunities. And usually in these cases, I was trying too hard to be on script when I needed to be the real me, because the real me would have taken what felt like a risk while being recorded. So FYI, I actually scheduled extra mentor coaching sessions after the conclusion of the course because I felt as if I was still developing that confidence. So those first 2 steps, understanding that balance and mentor coaching, are about getting the recordings right for the application. The 3rd step is after that exam, and number 3, it's the exam. Well, let me tell you my experience with the exam. It was hard. It tests good judgment based on the facts that you already know, with a strong emphasis on ethics. I recommend that as soon as you're invited to take it, clear your calendar for a day you can be well rested and fully present, and go for it. A final word of encouragement. The journey to MCC is not intended to be easy, but through Damien's course, mentor coaching, and your own wisdom, you have all that it takes to do this.